Hello, my name is Frank Christensen and I'm the coordinator of officials for IFAF in Europe. This is the second of 3 training tapes dealing with offensive pass interference. Today we're looking at pick plays. So we'll look at how the covering officials need to not only cover their own primary key, but have to be aware of what happens around them, because receivers often cross. So you have to look at 2 different receivers to recognize that they do cross before the pick happens. And we'll look at some examples and see what is too much and what is okay to let go. But before we get to the game film, let's have a look to see what the rulebook and the MOFO have to say on this topic. In the rulebook, we go to 738 offensive pass interference. B. Offensive pass interference is contact by a Team A player beyond the neutral zone that interferes with a Team B player during a legal forward pass play in which the forward pass crosses the neutral zone. It is the responsibility of the offensive player to avoid the opponents. It is not pass interference. 1. When after the snap, a Team A ineligible player immediately charges and contacts an opponent at a point not more than 1 yard beyond the neutral zone and maintains the contact for no more than 3 yards beyond the neutral zone. 2. When 2 or more eligible players are making a simultaneous and bona fide attempt to reach, catch, or bat the pass, eligible players of either team have equal rights to the ball. 3. When the pass is in flight and 2 or more eligible players are in the area where they might receive or intercept the pass, and an offensive player in that area impedes an opponent and the pass is not catchable. In the MOFO, we go to 339 offensive pass interference. A. Actions that constitute offensive pass interference include 1. Pushing off, initiating contact with a defender by shoving or pushing off, thus creating a separation in an attempt to catch a pass. 2. Driving through a defender who has established a position in the field. 3. Blocking, before the pass is thrown, blocking that occurs anywhere downfield. After the pass is thrown, blocking that occurs downfield within approximately 20 yards, more if the pass is delayed, of where the pass is thrown to. 4. Picking off, initiating contact with a defender who is attempting to cover a receiver. It is not a foul if the contact occurred at the same time as the pass was touched. B. Actions that do not constitute offensive pass interference include 1. Incidental contact by a receiver's hands, arms, or body in the act of moving to the ball that does not materially affect the route of the defender. If in doubt as to whether the route was materially affected, there is no pass interference. 2. Inadvertent tangling of feet when both or neither players are playing the ball. 3. Contact occurring during a pass that is clearly uncatchable by the involved players. 4. Blocking downfield when a screen pass or short pass to a receiver who has blockers in front of him prevents a defensive player from catching the ball. 5. Blocking downfield when the pass is legally grounded out of bounds or near the sideline. 6. Contact on a pick play when the defensive player is already blocking the offensive player. 7. Contact on a Hail Mary pass unless it is clear and conspicuous pass interference. C. Further notes. 1. Non-flagrant contact well away from the play should not be called. 2. Blocking downfield can be called even if the passer is legally grounding the ball. 3. Do not call pass interference if either foot of the Team A ineligible player is within 1 yard of the neutral zone. And finally, 4. If in doubt as to which player initiated a block, the initiator will be the one who is upright or leaning forward, and the player blocked will be knocked back. And that was the book. Now let's have a look at some game film. On this first play, we're looking at the inside receiver, but first let's have a look at the defense. It certainly looks like it's man-to-man coverage. So what we're looking for in these pick plays is typically receivers that cross each other. So if we're looking at these right there, you see the inside and the middle receiver, they cross each other. And when that happens, we really have to keep an eye on both of them. I think what happens here is the back judge who has the inside receiver, he's a little too quick to switch to the middle receiver, who now becomes the inside receiver, and that's why we missed this pick. Because if we look at the inside guy, he is clearly initiating, seeking out this contact to get this defender away from being able to cover the pass receiver. So we really have to look at these crossing routes from the receivers. So we have to look at both of the players, and really the pass receiver, there's not a whole lot of reason to look at him because nobody is close to him, so we don't really need to pay too much attention to him. So it's really important that we stick with our own key here and recognize this crossing route so that we can get this call. On this play, we're looking at the outside receiver here, or the two receivers really closest, because again, right here we can already tell that we got crossing routes where one of them is supposed to get open, and the other receiver is supposed to initiate contact with the cornerback, creating this openness. I think this is a very clear-cut case. If we look at the outside guy right there, he is seeking out the receiver. He's not running his own route. He's bracing himself for this impact, and that should be easy for us to recognize right there. If you're keying on 15 here, A15, we should be able to recognize that this is what he wants to do. Now, the only thing that we have to make sure on this play, and we can't tell from this angle with any certainty, is that this contact has to be beyond the line of scrimmage for it to be a foul for OPI. He does start on the line of scrimmage. It does look like he takes a couple of steps beyond, but again, we can't tell from this angle. The wing has a perfect angle at it, and he also has a flag, so I'm sure these officials are all over it. But that is an aspect of it that we need to be aware of. Again, we're looking at the outside receiver here, or the two receivers on this side, and again, we're seeing this pattern that when they cross, there's a chance. I'm not saying that all receivers who cross are going to pick, but most receivers who pick are going to cross first. So if we look at the outside receiver, you know, the first move is fine. He swims over his cornerback and he continues down the field, but then when he initiates contact with the second receiver there, he doesn't try to get around him. He really just tries to get in the way, which gets the other receiver open and creates this pass reception. So first move is okay. Second move is initiating contact to pick off the cornerback. And again, once you see this crossing, you gotta kind of look at both receivers and see what's going on. And once that contact happens, you can tell the receiver is getting ready for the contact. He knows it's coming because he's seeking it out, and that's the indicator that we should be looking for to make this offensive pass interference call. On this play, we're looking again at the two closest receivers, and the pattern is clear now. Once we've got receivers crossing, we've got to look out here. Instead of creating space on the outside, it's creating space on the inside. So it's the slot back coming out. If we look at him, he creates contact right there, and you can tell by what he does after the contact. He's really seeking out the contact, so his body language is telling us after the contact, his job is done. He did what he was supposed to do. He created this contact to create space for his buddy coming from the outside in, and a good call by these two officials. Now, I would say that, you know, the way that we're throwing these flags, the back judge does a good job here throwing it overhand. From the outside, it looks like it's an underhand flag, and let's just get into a habit of these fouls that can be spot fouls. Let's throw them overhand and make them more accurate that way. On this play, we're looking at the two receivers at the top of the screen, far away from the camera, and again we'll see the crossing right there as the indicator that this could turn into a pick play, and we're looking at the outside receiver creating space or hindering the inside cornerback, creating the space for the outside cornerback. Typically, or a lot of times when somebody gets that open, it happens because of a pick earlier. Now, you could argue that the outside cornerback is actually initiating contact to the receiver, and that is part of the reason why this contact happens here. But if you look at the receiver's shoulder, he actually lowers his shoulder to initiate contact with the inside cornerback right there. So even though there is contact by the outside cornerback, the receiver is still intentionally creating contact with his shoulder to the inside cornerback, just enough to create that space for the outside receiver to get open. So this is an offensive pass interference, a pick that should be called. We're now moving to the plays where we just don't have enough for a foul, and on this play we actually have both sets of receivers crossing. But let's start with the two receivers closest to the camera here, and we'll notice A17 on the inside. He comes out, he lowers his shoulders. That's certainly an indicator or a break in his hand, but there's really not a whole lot of contact. Plus, right at the snap, the quarterback turns his head away from these two players, and he's going to go to the other side. So even if we had good solid contact to open up the outside receiver on this side of the field, it's not enough for OPI because the quarterback so quickly throws the ball to the other side. Now let's have a look at the other side where we also have crossing receivers, but really the inside guy is just riding his cornerback to the outside. There's no pick of the outside cornerback, and this is just a good legal play for a touchdown. On this play, we're looking at the two outside receivers, and specifically we're looking at the inside or the middle in this trips, and you can clearly tell from his body language that he's bracing for the impact. He's not running a route anymore the way that his stutter steps, and he braces for this impact. However, it is legal, because if we can freeze it right when the ball is caught, is pretty much at the same time as the contact happens by A3. So it didn't really have an effect on this play, and we might even be able to see here the ball arrives, and he's right on the goal line. So basically the play is over at this point, and this is before the contact happens. So you can't really have an OPI after the ball has been caught for a touchdown. So in this case, we've got all the indicators. We've got the crossing receivers. We've got bracing for the impact. So he's initiating this impact. But we don't have the timing aspect that we need for an OPI here. On this play, we're looking at the middle trips receiver here, and he's going to go inside. Now again, we've got the crossing route, so we've got the indicator there. But I think we can let this one go for several reasons. First of all, it's fairly close to the line of scrimmage. the cornerback also creates contact here, possibly initiating this contact. I do think the receiver continues this contact, possibly even beyond the line of scrimmage. But if you notice the timing of it at this point here, where you can start to say that maybe he continues this contact on the inside cornerback. If you look back at the quarterback, the ball is already being thrown to the outside guy, and this contact has absolutely no bearing on the outside receiver. So this contact here has no impact on the play. Now, if we ended up with the quarterback throwing to the inside receiver going on the outside there, this would be a different story. Now we've got the crossing, we've got the receiver coming completely open, and we have an impact on the play. But here, with the ball being thrown deep, I think this is a good no call. On this final play, OPI was called on the inside receiver closest to the camera here, but I think we should have left this one alone. So let's have a look and pull it apart. Now, first of all, we do have the crossing routes here, so we do have the brick in the hand. However, if we there are two reasons why I think we should have left this one alone. First of all, if we look at the inside receiver here, he is not initiating this contact. You can tell he's looking back for the ball, and when the contact occurs, he is completely surprised. He actually takes the brunt of this. So he's not initiating this contact, as opposed to the earlier ones where you saw them brace for the impact and create it and cause it. The second part is, and if we look right here where the contact happens, and you look in at the quarterback, he's already rolling out to the other side, so there really is no impact on this play. So there's no initiating the contact, and it didn't have an effect on the play, so I think we should have left this one alone. I hope you can see the difference between what we want called and what we want to leave alone, and I hope you found something you can use on the field.